I consider a trek without hardships incomplete because the challenges associated with those hardships are the refiner's fire of personal growth. However, these challenges can easily switch from experiences for personal growth to become detrimental by a simple shift in attitude. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you've experienced it. Here's an example. While in the middle of a hard task, you begin to wonder, why is it taking so long? You begin to focus on the struggle and the pain. You begin to complain by saying things like, why does this have to be so hard? How much longer is it going to take? And I just don't want to do this. These negative thoughts can result in anger or frustration as the focal point becomes the hardship of the challenge. This dynamic often results in termination of the challenge if choice is a factor, or else a lot of dissatisfaction evident by consistent complaints. This behavior is called raging against the mountain. Consider the hardship or challenge of climbing a mountain, then consider everything you can do to change the mountain. Can you make it smaller? Can you, with all your energy, change one aspect of that mountain? Of course you know. There is nothing, I repeat, nothing that you can do to change the mountain in any way. In fact, there are only two things you can change. Number one, you being on the mountain, which means you could remove yourself from the mountain. You could stop what's happening and leave it. And the second is your attitude. This means accepting the mountain by realizing you cannot change it. And once you accept the mountain, wondrous things happen. Here are a few. You begin to see the beauty. When you begin to experience positives where you once could only see the negatives, the journey changes. This does not mean that the journey is easier, but as you accept the mountain, beauty emerges from the ashes of complaints. The other thing is, you begin to see the Lord's hand. Once you quiet your mind by removing the anger and frustration, you open yourself for the quiet power of the experience. In these quiet moments, you begin to see the Lord's presence in places you never expected. Imagine how different history would have been if Laman and Lemuel had stopped raging against the mountain. Not only would Laman and Lemuel have spiritually grown through the experience, but generations of people would have been profoundly impacted. Raging against the mountain is an important, potentially life-altering idea that you can teach the youth about during the trek. Listen for complaints, recognize them as teaching moments, look for hardships, and point them out with rage against the mountain terms. Help your youth process these experiences by getting them to talk about the hardship and help them color the experience with a kind of perspective that washes out the rage against the mountain.